So thank you very much. Just I stopped last time or yesterday on this slide, and this was a statement about Berezin Toeplitz star product of information quantization. And as I have to say, so this is I should have mentioned it here, but because it was in the previous slide, of course, this is the situation where we have a compact quantizable Kähler manifold. So it's different from this what was explained by Professor English, where he considered domains in Cn. So the statement is that there exists a unique differential star product. So this we know now, hopefully. But if you have questions, please ask. Please interrupt and ask here. So, and this, you see, the star product means that we have given f and g, the infinity function, where the star product gives a formal series, formal power series with this variable u, formal variable, and we have ck, fg, which are again the infinity functions there. And this ck are uniquely given by this asymptotic expansion. First, of course, you star product of some very important, here in this proof, not very important, but an important point is the associativity. And this this made one of the big problems in previous works of others there to show the associativity. So, but here you see, this is then more or less pretty automatic, I have to say, by the construction. But here I want to point out certain things. You see, this means asymptotic expansion, but okay, what should this mean? Because the asymptotic, we have TFM, and this TFM, they live in, for different m's, they live in different spaces, because you see they are element of endomorphism of this gamma hole NM. So n different space. So we cannot just say we make an asymptotic expansion. This is not possible. So what is meant by this, that we have such kind of a relation here. So we have individually for all m, we have there the operator product, as operator norm. And we have a very strong condition that this if you make now the difference, go up to a certain level, this can be bounded in terms of 1 over n to the power n, norm-wise. So this is a very strong statement. So the next theorem, this is doing with Alexander Karl-Becker, this we showed that this Berezin Toeplitz star product is a local star product, and it's a separation of variable type. So it is now, okay, in my terminology, which seems to be different from New York English terminology, I call it weak type. You might call it anti-weak, so I have to say, but anyhow, it doesn't matter. So it is. So we have these two different types. Berezin Toeplitz and Berezin are different type. Okay, but anyhow, this is one of the types there. We also calculated the linear Fedosov class. Recall the linear Fedosov class gives a one-to-one parameterization of equivalence classes of star products. So by this, we know exactly what will be its equivalent class. So what is written there? It is written there that this is the omega, this is our Kähler form here, the class of our Kähler form, this is always Kähler. And then we have here one additional term. We have here a formal series of two forms, of closed two forms. So we have the -1 term, we have the 0 term, and the higher terms, but we only have here the 0 term there, no higher terms. So, and it is, you see, this is the so-called canonical, we take the canonical class. So we have the canonical line button, which is given by the holomorphic differentials on the manifold. And now taking its John form and its John class, this will now be the delta, we have delta half. Okay, good. Also, Karl-Becker, which means the separation of variable type star products, they are classified one-to-one, up to equivalence by Karl-Becker form. In this case, the classifying Karl-Becker form is given like this. -1 over mu omega, this was our Kähler form. plus now the canonical curvature form of the canonical bundle. So canonical with the help of Louisville form and so on and so on. So you might ask why minus? Yeah, it is because it is the opposite of Karl-Bekoff's convention. If it would be separation of variable in Karl-Bekoff's convention, it would be plus. But here it's the opposite, so it is minus. The opposite means we interchange the mode of holomorphic and anti-holomorphic derivatives. And this means that we could also be describing as we take now as a scalar form, as let's say a pseudo-scalar form, the minus of omega. This is why it's there. But maybe don't think too much about this. If you want to know more, I explained it to you in private. Now, the first theorem really about the existence of the star product, and this is based on the simple calculus of Coutin-Lemuel and Newman. And this I will describe next. Okay? I'm now under pressure because otherwise Professor English will do it, and I don't want him to do it. So okay, I know this was a joke. But anyhow, you have to describe it because I will need the concepts there. The second theorem, this means that this is about this statements there. They are based essentially on our joint theorem on asymptotic expansion of the Bergman kernel of the diagonal. I will introduce this, not today, I think, but tomorrow I will introduce it, the Bergman kernel, and then I will also introduce the Berezin transform, because in this paper we also showed the asymptotic expansion of the Bergman transform for quantizable complex manifold, and this will be essentially used for proving this. I also explained to Professor English in the coffee break that we call this paper identification of the Berezin Toeplitz deformation quantization, but we are not so happy anymore about the title, because the main, sometimes the crucial, what we did there was that we showed about this Bergman kernel and about the Berezin transform, these statements, and the other one is just an application of it, okay? Not a completely trivial application, but application of it. So maybe just a rather modified term to this to the setup of this proof, because I will need some time for setting up it, or that I can apply this Coutin-Lemuel calculus. So this BMS theorem, this is so this means that about these operators. Asymptotic, this means the asymptotic behavior of the Toeplitz operators here. Now, with the help of Feynman's relation, we also can show that there exists a star product, star geometric quantization, given by asymptotic expansion of these geometric quantization operators. Like for the Toeplitz, we can do it for the geometric quantization operators. We don't have to redo it in total, but we can use this relation, this Feynman relation relating Toeplitz with geometric quantization, and show that there is also star product. Moreover, this star product is even equivalent to this BT, because this is the this is BT, and this is maybe not so good here because B was always used for the Berezin transform. This is not the Berezin transform, okay? Sorry, this is not a Berezin transform. This is just a map from this formal map from C infinity to C infinity. It's like the Berezin transform also. It's also a formal map, but this is this one which relates the geometric quantization with the Toeplitz quantization. Okay. So we have here we repeat it again. QFM was T. I think I need an I here. So, and here F minus 2 Laplace F. This was this Feynman relation, and you see here what's written there. This gives our B. And you can, of course, you can invert this B as it starts with identity. you get B minus 1 and so on, and this gives the equivalence of star product.
I think there is no I there.
There is no I, okay, but I'm not.
If M is constant, right, you should compare them.
Should be, okay, good. Sorry. Good. So this means that this means that those two star products are equivalent. They are not the same, of course, because the general quantization is not of the operational variable type. This is a different star product. They are completely different in a certain sense, but they are equivalent. Now I come to the setup of the proofs. This setup will be used for both directions there. I should say I will not prove everything, of course, because this is a lot of work. And maybe it will not be of interest so much to you to know all the details. But at least I want to show you some important points of the proof. Important objects there which play a role themselves, have some relevance here. Now, so we start with the quantum bundle L. This was our quantum bundle L. Now, I used here again this fancy name, very ample. So this says the following: we had this bundle L was ample, meaning that a certain tensor power can be used to embed it in the projective space. Now we assume already that it's already that we can take the bundle L. You no need to consider tensor power of it. So if this is not the case, we rescale the situation. So because we have now L tensor M0 will be very ample, but the L corresponds to omega, but now this other bundle corresponds to M0 times omega. Again, a Kähler form. It's the same complex manifold, we only rescale the Kähler form by an integer multiple. So this is nothing serious. Then we pass to its dual space. So the bundle to dual bundle. So means that we take the L star, and we take here now the K is now the metric in the dual, so it's just 1 over H there. So we will use that in the following U for the dual, and then this K, then as I showed you there, in case we have the projective space, we have to talk about the projective space. Our bundle L would be the hyperplane section bundle. The dual would be the tautological bundle. So this tautological bundle would now be just, shall we have now the lines parameterizing the points, parameterized by the points of projective space. This will be now our bundle U. This is sometimes called universal bundle, sometimes called tautological bundle. And our K is will then be just a standard metric here. But we want, this is not our situation. As I said, our embedding in the projective space is not a Kähler embedding, so we cannot just use only this. Okay, good. Now, inside of this total space U, we consider the circle bundle. So the circle bundle, so we take now the elements of the total space, for which now we have K lambda is equal to 1. And then we have the disk. We have our manifold M. Okay. We have I'm not good in the drawing, I have to say. This would be now our Q. And now we have inside this would be our manifold M. And then we have the disk bundle, which is the interior of Q. So this is just now all points of the total space for which we have K lambda is less than 1. We will have to deal with the following with tau map from Q to M, or tau even from U to M, or tau from disk bundle to M. So I will always use the same symbol just to avoid an overkill of notation there. Good. Now our bundle Q, that's a compact manifold. So this was the Q was this S1 bundle here. So this means there is a one form. Nu, okay, I use down the U which is of course not so clever because our nu was always the formal variable. I should have used another symbol. Sorry for this. But as we, so just ignore this because the nu which are coming now, this will be just this one form. It's a one form, which is defined in terms of our metric. So this is our metric there, so in the bundle here. So this is del minus del bar, log h hat, to make it real, it's a real valued form. That's a real valued one form. And the point is now, you see that we have our manifold M here. So this is our manifold, we have our manifold M. On M, we have our Liouville form. So this is a volume form downstairs on M. And now we put it back to our Q. We put it back to Q. Q was this disk bundle. Of course, this is now, we need 1 degree more of a form, because otherwise it's not a volume form. Now, okay, this is exactly given by this form here. This gives now the additional 1 degree form to make it a volume form. And this is the definition of a contact manifold, but okay, again, we will not really need it, this notion, if you don't go too much into the details. So it's just a name here. But already here, let me point out that the Q here, in terms of the previous talk, it's a pseudo-convex, strictly pseudo-convex domain. And this will be used also in the following. So it is a strictly pseudo-convex domain. So we have just, in some sense, we have this, these circles from all pointy circles and so on. And this is this, I think it's sometimes also called, so it's this one, so this form here, this is the, I think sometimes called Levy form also, but I'm not sure, so don't mind it up, I'm not sure. So it is this form which gives the boundary here. So the boundary is given by k, by the k. So this is the k and this is the form corresponding to the boundary. The k gives the boundary. So then let me go back. So we see this is the k. This gives the this gives the boundary, and this is the d is the interior. So the pseudo-convex domain is the d. Sorry, I should say that here. The d. It's not the q. The d is the strictly pseudo-convex domain, and where this is the boundary of the pseudo-convex domain. As I said, q is S1 bundle. That's clear. We can rotate with S1 here, and the thing is made like this. That if we have if we have a function which we integrate over M downstairs, we can also pull back the function to our Q and integrate it with respect to this volume form upstairs. Okay? So we can integrate at least those functions which are coming from the manifold M, either upstairs or downstairs. We have the L2 space of on Q with respect to this volume form there. So, and we have the subspace of the function on Q. You see the Q is this S1 bundle here. So it is we have 2n. So if n is a complex dimension, we have 2n real dimensions there plus 1 real dimension along the circle. So I have 2n dot 1 dimension here. For Q, what our D is again 2n plus 2 dimensional, real 2n plus 2 dimensional. Now we consider this subspace of functions on Q, so which we can extend to holomorphic functions on the disk bundle. Meaning this is the interior of the circle bundle. So we have a function here, and we ask us the question: can we extend it to a holomorphic function inside? Of course, above all points on the manifold here, above the manifold here. And this space is called generalized Hardy space. So this is called the generalized Hardy space. Why? If the base manifold would be just a point, then we would have just S1, the circle, and our D would be just the disk And the question is, which function we can extend from the circle to the disk as holomorphic functions, okay? So, or maybe vice versa would be, which function on this S1 are boundary values of holomorphic function of the disk? This is the same question here. And this is, in this case, it's just a classical Hardy space here. And now the generalized Churchill projector is this orthogonal projection going from the L2, meaning we have all functions and L2 completion, and projecting it down to our Hardy space here. This is called generalized Churchill projection. This picture we should not forget, because it will show up several times in the following here. Now, inside of this space, inside of the Hardy space are holomorphic, those which I can be extended to holomorphic function inside of, to the interior of the disk bundle here. So there we have a subspace of M homogeneous function on Q. So homogeneous, because okay, so yeah, this is okay. This should, I think we should write D because there are functions on D. Homogeneous means, as you of course expect here, if I have just C times lambda, I can take out a C with a certain power. This is the homogeneity. That is the homogeneity. Our space, this is a subspace. Our space H is preserved by the S1 action. Clear? Because if you rotate, this will not change. Those which we can extend will be the same. So it's S1 is invariant under the S1 action. And indeed, we can decompose it into eigenspaces. Because you see this one, you see the C, this corresponds exactly to the S1 rotation. And the Cm, this is how the S1 rotation acts on these functions there. So we can decompose it into eigenspaces, where C acts as multiplication by C to the power n. So H can be completely decomposed there as a product. Then also the Churchill projector is S1 invariant. It's S1 invariant. As again, the question is, which functions so how we project will not depend on the fixed rotation there. It will not depend on it, of course. Hence, we can decompose it also into its components. And the components, these are the Bergman projectors. So the pi, so we have this Churchill projector. So maybe we have this. Just visible on the other side. So let me erase this. So we have our pi hat going from L2 to U, going down to the Hardy space, generalized Hardy space. I know, maybe I let it drop this generalized always here. And now I have this, now I have HM. So projection on this subspace, and this one is now I hat M. So this composition here is called Bergman projectors. So this is a family of Bergman projectors. For every M I get such a projector. So now we know what Bergman projectors are. Good. Now let me now up to now I did not relate it to this to the bundles here, but this will now come. Now, how does it come here? You see, Q is S1 bundle, and our LM. This was the bundle L. This is our one-to-line bundle. Our LM are the associated line bundles. So this is by the standard techniques. There are, if you have S1, so Q S1 bundle, you can construct the line bundles by taking representations of our S1. Okay, and so and this is done by the sections of Lm. This is equal to U. U was the dual bundle minus M, and they are identified with those functions on Q which are homogeneous of degree M. You have this plus minus stuff there to take into account. So, this identification, this I call gamma M. So I take here, what I take here, I take the sections of the bundle Lm. L2 sections for the moment, okay? L2 sections, these are, the L2 section can be considered as L2 functions on Q, okay? Sorry. So in the following way. So I won't have to assign to a section of Lm a function on Q. How do I do this? This is the standard thing, standard stuff, how to do it with the associated bundles here. I take, maybe I should do it here. I have here my Q, I have here an alpha. I project it down to our manifold M. This is now the tau alpha. Okay? This is the tau alpha. You see here. Now I take the section. I want to associate to the section a function. Okay? So now I take the section. You see? I take S, apply it to tau alpha. But okay. But the question is, what section of what? What will where will be the image live? So it is a section, S is a section in Lm. So it lives in a total space of Lm. So it goes to Lm. L tensor M. Okay? So it does not go to Q, it goes to L tensor M. But Q is dual to L. So I can evaluate this section. I can evaluate this with the help of alpha tensor M. Alpha is in Q, alpha tensor M. This is dual to L tensor M. So I evaluate it and I get something which is a constant. Which is a constant with respect to if you have fixed an alpha. So it's indeed a function now on Q. Good. Good. You got it more or less? More or less? Okay. Good. This will show up, I think, tomorrow again, this relation, so but I will repeat it again. You see, because here what we did, here we assigned to a section, we fixed the alpha, of course then we write the alpha later, we fixed alpha and then we assigned to a section, we assigned to it a function. Okay? Section, then a value, and hence we get functions there. Now, if we restrict ourselves to holomorphic sections, so here it was just maybe it was L2, but here if we restrict it to the holomorphic sections, we obtain now indeed an unitary isomorphism. So meaning that if we have now, you see on this side, we have now holomorphic sections. On this side, we have now this HM. Because these are exactly of the Harvey space, okay? We have the HM. We have on both sides, we have scalar products. We have the scalar products coming from the quantization. Here we have the scalar products also, which we defined with this, what we have done here. And the fact which has come to show that this is indeed, this is a linear isomorphism which is unitary, which respects the scalar product. Why this is the case? It depends deeply on the fact that we have the quantization condition. So this is due to the quantization condition. I will not prove it here. Now we have two projections. We have a projection going from L2 to HM, and we have a projection going from L to LM to gamma whole LM. This was the this was the old projection yesterday or the day before yesterday. So where we said, okay, we take here all sections, the infinity sections, and we project it down to the holomorphic sections of the bundle L. Okay. So this is a projection on terms of functions on Q. Okay, this is for the sections, and we have a unitary map, so which relates this space with this with subspace, I have to say, of this. So this is subspace of this, and indeed they are compatible. So we can go as a so maybe let me write it. I have here the so I have it written here, so here. So they are compatible. What does this mean? It means if we identify our space with the help of the gamma m. This was this gamma m space, which maybe I should have said. The gamma m, of course, the gamma m is L2 m. No, okay, sorry, forget about it. What I have written here, because it's already there. So we can, if we use this gamma m, we can identify the projectors there. The head projector, this was the reason that I had, yeah?
So the second projection is the one that you used to define the Toeplitz map, right?
Exactly, exactly. This was the map which I started with. And but the problem with this kind of approach is this, that you don't have any relation between different m's. This is just one m, okay, good. But now we realize this as a certain part of the general picture. So we have now the pi hat m. The pi hat m is defined, you start, so this L2Q, okay, to Hm, where this is defined for every m. You have for every m, of course, a different space where it goes through, okay? It's a subspace, yeah? But you have all of them related in some sense. They are all subspace of the big Harvey space. They're all subspace of the big Harvey space. This is the space which we have defined on the level of the sections there, yesterday or the day before yesterday. But the fact that it's unitary is, of course, very important because we want to project, we want to calculate things there, and we have scalar products, and we want really to identify. We can only identify this stuff if we really have such a unitary map here. But now we are done with this. So now the modes of pi can be identified with a pi n. You see, this is the mode of the pi here. We can identify them with a pi n. So maybe to make a long story short, maybe it's more complicated if one reads this. We have whether we work now with sections and projecting them down to holomorphic sections for each m individually, or whether we work for the L2Q and consider the projection to the generalized Hardy space, to this big Hardy space, and consider its individual modes going down to Hm. This does not make any difference. We can either calculate there or there. Now, recall that this one, where is it here? This one, you see, this one was called Bergman projector. So in some sense, you see, these are the, I would not say Toeplitz projector because the Toeplitz is composition is my this is the projector which, no, not this one. This one, okay, this is the projection which takes place in the definition of the Toeplitz operator as we did it for the beginning. And this one is the Bergman projector, okay? And we related the Bergman projector with this Toeplitz related projectors. The Bergman projector, they have smooth integral kernels. These kernels, they are called Bergman kernels. The Searcher projector does not have a smooth kernel. But its component, they have smooth kernels, DM alpha beta, where alpha and beta are for Q. This Q was this S1 bundle here, and so the kernel function is of course valued that we have just we integrate now along Q with respect to the Bergman kernel there. Okay, this is a crucial point now to reach this kind of. It's not really deep thing here. Okay, it is a crucial point in reformulating the setup. There are certain things to prove in the way to do this, but this is not yet. There is not yet much theory invested yet, or new results invested here. And now with Alexander Karl Beckhoff, we showed the asymptotic expansion of the kernel, of the Bergman kernel of the diagonal. Maybe I will show you this then one of the other days here. Also, something which I for sure will explain a little bit later, the Bergman kernel can be given in terms of coherent states. So in fact, this Bergman kernel will be a scalar product of coherent vectors. But this I will give you the details tomorrow or the day after. For today, I think I will mainly now concentrate on the Toeplitz structure. So, this Toeplitz structure is theories to the Monvel and Gilman. And I will here not, of course, I will not dare to really to make a complete theory. Yeah, thank you. Obstacle. Okay, no, it's
This is to make the war more thirsty.
that's true. Oh yeah. So we will see, Professor English will see what he has to add tomorrow then. Okay, the point is, this is, unfortunately I have not written there. So let me, maybe I should add this on the slide also. So we have our Q. This is our Q, this was our S1 bundle there. And we also there, so we have, and there is a certain setup in this, so it's, as I said, I will not give the most general definition here. So what we will have here, so we will have this data. Toeplitz structure is given with respect to two data. But I see I have written it here, so there is no need to worry on this on the whiteboard here. So we have two data. Let me maybe start with the sigma here. Because I said already, so we have T star Q without the zero section. We remove the zero section there. This is a symplectic manifold. Also, I should say, I should repeat it again, our D, this is a strictly pseudo-convex domain. The Q is the boundary of the strictly pseudo-convex domain. So this is, the Toeplitz thing can be done exactly in such a setup. And now the point is this is called a symplectic cone. So it is a subspace of a symplectic space T star Q. So this is a Q is that's real quantity. That's 2n plus 1 dimension on T star Q. There is now 2 times 2n plus 1. And now in this we have a certain subset which is given with the help of our form. The mu was our contact form. With the help of this one form. So it is. So we take, so if T would be 1, for example, then we would just have the image of the one form here. This image of the one form. And now we have another coordinate T, so T positive. And this is a symplectic, but has to show something, it's not automatic. But in this context, it's true that this is a symplectic submanifold of T star Q. So this is the one data. And the other data, this is the pi, and the pi is in this case it is the project, it's a schedule projector. So from L2, so all L2 function on the Q, we let it down to the generalized Hardy space. And these two data, with respect to these two data, yeah?
Sorry for my ignorance. I don't understand why you add the contact structure and then removing the zero section by removing that to make it symplectic, right?
Yeah. So the point is the following.
What is
If you
the
don't
rationale
remove
behind?
it, then you have singularities. So you have.
What was the rationale behind taking the S1 down direction? Why do you even need Q in the first place?
Okay, good. Okay. I thought I was able to convince you why I. Point is, I do not need it automatically, but I need it if I want to group all this data together. The main point is, you see that I have this L tensor M, okay? And now I have this collection of L tensor M. This collection of L tensor M, they are not related between us. For M different to M prime, there is no relation between them. This Q gives a way to group all things together. As you see, our LM, this was one of the main points in the setup of the previous slide. Our LMs are now associated bundles to the Q. So we have this one bundle Q, and now we have the associated bundles LM. And by this identification, we were even able to identify the space of global sections of L tensor M with the subspace HM in Hardy space. So there is a big Hardy space, infinite dimensional of course, and we have all this finite dimensional stuff inside of it. You will see in the proof how this will be used. Okay, but maybe you can now more or less agree that it makes sense to group these things together. Up to now, of course, you need to see how it works, or you can say, okay, you can do it. I have to say that in some sense, why the people, now I talk about people who like Kain Gudronsky and so on, they were also trying to show star product, Berezin type star product, let's say, for compact Kähler manifold, but they did not succeed in general. Because their idea was that they wanted to embed the space of sections of Lm into a bigger space of Lm prime. And then to do that is asymptotic in some sense by considering just this tower of embeddings. But in fact, this does not work in general. This works on the very special situations. There you can do it. But this was sometimes the clue to approach it via this process, that it's not the right way to embed it, but to consider some kind of restricted product. Okay? So restricted product. So restricted product in a sense, it has to do with the continuous field of C-star algebras. Okay, good. May I continue? Okay, good. Now, this was now this Toeplitz structure, and then with respect to such a structure, we could forget now for a moment about this Toeplitz business there. It is, we have just these two data, we have this projection. Okay, we have this projection there. Okay, and we have this symplectic cone. In the symplectic cone, this is defined with the help of our nu, and our nu is the contact form, as you realize, as you said, of the Q. Okay, so this is there. So good. Now the generalized Toeplitz operator of order k. This is now an operator from H to H of the following form. It is that should be a pseudo-differential operator of order k on Q. You see that we have this T star Q. Pseudo-differential operator is defined in terms of the T star Q. But now what we do, we have such an arm. But now we have, this is a projection there. So we take now this, we squeeze it in, but the first one would not be important, but anyhow. So it is squeezed in this projection there. So this means you see that the pseudo differential operator R would go from L2Q to L2Q, okay? This is the pseudo differential operator from L2Q to LQ. Our Toeplitz operator goes from H to H. So maybe remove this. Let me do it here. So we have now L2Q, we have L2Q, we have here our pi, we have our H, we have our H. Okay, good. And here we have our pseudo differential operator, R is a pseudo differential operator of order K. And if we can write it as such a pseudo differential operator with a projection, you see this our H is a subspace of this, so this should be identified with this. If we can write it in such a way, if we call it a Toeplitz operator of order K. Warning. This R is not uniquely fixed by this process. There are, we can discuss this in detail, not here, I will not discuss this with you, but in the theory one can discuss this in detail, what is the ambiguity and so on and so on. But the statement is, there exists at least one pseudo differential operator with order K, but the order will be fixed, will be unique. Now, quickly, the Morel and Gilman showed the following partly very non-trivial effects. This Toeplitz operator of order K, they build a ring. So you can multiply them. It's again a Toeplitz operator of order. Now we can say that the order will also then end up then. And it is possible to define the leading symbol of R. So, but only the leading symbol is possible to define. So we can, so by taking just the sigma R, that's simply the leading symbol of, of this A, by taking the leading symbol of the R, and restrict it now on this symplectic cone. We restrict it to the symplectic cone, okay? The point is, of course, this has ambiguity, but for this leading symbol by restriction, this sigma R would be defined on P star Q. But restricted to the symplectic cone, and of course they are related, as you see. We get that this leading symbol is well defined. We have these relations there, that we have, if we have the product of operators, A1, A2, then its leading symbol will be the product of the leading symbols. This follows from the standard results for Toeplitz for two differential operators. And also the next one, the point is that if we have now the bracket of these operators, or this commutator bracket of the operators, then this one is now also a Toeplitz operator there, but it's now its leading symbol is will be given by taking the Pastor bracket of the leading symbols. The Pastor bracket now with respect to the symplectic structure on the symplectic cone. You will, maybe today or maybe tomorrow, then you will see this in action. What this really means, because this is a little bit, it's not so innocent looking finally. It looks innocent, but it's not so innocent as one might think here. And of course, also a very important fact is, if A is a formal order K, with the symbol is vanishing, the leading symbol is vanishing, then in fact it's of order K minus 1. And the order K minus 1 part is the leading symbol is then well defined. But in general, the sub-leading symbols are not well defined. So without some additional conditions there. So we, okay, because the point is that our R is not well defined, that's the point. So now what we need, in my business, maybe even the others there, in my business I need the following Toeplitz operators. I need the generator of the circle action. The circle action means that this operator which is responsible for the rotation. So here phi is this angular variable, and now this generator of the circle action, this is given by 1 over d phi. You see that we have, what we have our coordinates on the base manifold M, and we have the coordinates along the circle. This is the phi, this is the angular variable. So this is now a pseudo differential operator, which has order 1. So it is a differential because it differentiates with respect to one variable there, which is phi. It has the symbol t, and so the t was this direction there in the symplectic cone, and it operates on the Hm as a multiplication by m. And so that's clear here because you have this. We take the derivative and then we have c to the power m, and then it just is the multiplication with m here. And the other operator which we have to consider, we take a function on downstairs on our manifold M. Now, so we take, we call it NF, slight abuse of notation. We take the operator, the multiplication operator on Q, to Q, which corresponds down to the multiplication. We put back the function f to Q, it's just to pull back to the Q, and we multiply now the function there. And now the TF is now, if we take this as the pseudo differential operator here, and we take now the pi, this is our projection with this Toeplitz structure here. This is now an operator from H to H, and this operator we call the global Toeplitz operator. And in fact, this will be our goal, to study this operator and its modes. That's the point. And identify this with our Toeplitz operators, which we already introduced. This is now, for the moment, I should have, or maybe I might have used a different symbol, T hat, let's say, just to distinguish it from the TF, which I have already introduced. But I don't want to overload the notation there. It is, for the moment, this is now a different object from this which we had defined before. It goes from H to H. Our previous one, this goes from gamma whole Lm to Lm, but we already saw we can identify this with Hm. Okay, there are certain chances here. It is of order 0, of course. It's just multiplication. And what is simple? Yeah, okay, it's just we just pull back the function to our sigma. We just put it back, that's our symbol. Now we put it back to our sigma. Put. Now our TF commutes with the circle action. So this, whether we do it now with the pi, before or after this, so it commutes with this. Of course, also our d phi commutes with the circle action. So we can decompose the TF into TFM. Again, maybe I should have put it later. Next, I will correct this later to put a hat on it because these are not exactly the TF which we had before, but they will be like this. By saying, okay, the restriction of this global Toeplitz operator to HM, this we know now by TFM. But now the crucial point here. After the identification of HM with this phase of quantization or the quantization, then we see that the TFM are indeed the Toeplitz operator TFM acting on the section of the bundle LM introduced before. So now I erase again the hat because they are indeed the same. After this identification, of course. So let me indicate a sketch of part C of this DNS theorem. This was the following, okay? It was the following that we can relate TFM, the TFM times TGM we want to relate it to T F times Gn, okay? For the Toeplitz operator, for the traditional Toeplitz operator which we have introduced. And this should be, this is an 1 over n. So formally, our A, I now write down so a Toeplitz operator, because these Toeplitz operators are a ring. So this is a Toeplitz. So I now talk about generalized Toeplitz operator. Okay, warning. This is a generalized Toeplitz operator. This is one, and this is one. Okay. So this expression is a generalized Toeplitz operator. So what is its order? So we have the following. We have here. This is order 0, this is order 0, so this is formally at least order 0, this is order 1, so the A is formally of order 1. Okay? Now let us check whether it's indeed of order 1. Now for this we have to check its symbol. But its symbol, you see, what we have, the symbol of df gets T. The symbol of this one here, this is just a pullback of F times G, because this symbol here, this is the pullback of F, this is symbol here, pullback of this symbol here. But as here we pull back the product of function, which both define downstairs, which is of course the product of the pullback. What do we get? We get that indeed this expression here will be 0. This means that considered as a generalized Toeplitz operator of order 1, its leading symbol will be 0. Hence, indeed, this Toeplitz operator is of order 0. It's of order 0, and its S1 is invariant, because already is S1 invariant. So now, and here the point is that there is a certain point here. This kind of argument which comes now does not work in the German non-compact situation. One has to refine things there. So M is a compact manifold. Hence Q is also a compact manifold. Okay? And A is a bounded operator. As it is, as the order is, it's the operator of order 0, so it's a bounded operator. So sorry, I should have said M and Q are compact, and then they are the operator is of order 0. Hence, A is a bounded operator because it's compact. That's the point. And now what we can from the S1, so we recall, so we keep in mind, A is a bounded operator. Okay. So from the S1 invariance of everything, we can decompose also A into its components, where AM is the restriction of A on the space HM. Okay? So, and now, for the norms, we get the following, of course, that the norm of the individual components will be bounded by the total norm. So with the A is that we have a certain value for the total norm of A, and this gives a bound for the individual norms. And now what if we look on this, the AM, what does it do? The AM is A restricted to the HM. Now let us check what the A restricted to the HM does. So we have the TF, so if we restrict it to the HM, our TF is exactly TFM. Not triplets, but now the modes there, which are identified with triplets later, of course. And this TGM in here, okay. What about the DF? The DF is just multiplication on HM multiplication by M. So the restriction of A to HM is just M times this expression here. Okay? So quite simple. So now if we take now the norm bound, we know this one can be bounded by A. We get now that indeed this one is bounded by, this expression here, the norm, is bounded by the norm A divided by M. This gives a bound. So, and in that, indeed we get the claim that this TF is O1 over M. Where we can, here we can say it's some A Now the A depends, if you like, the A depends on F and G. As this in the definition there, we can give a bound. So depending, so A or maybe C, some big constant C, F, G, only depending on F and G, 1 over M, which gives a universal bound independent of M for this zero. And this is exactly the statement C of this PMS theorem. Okay, question to this proof? Maybe if you have a question to this proof, just please ask them. Tomorrow I will do the bracket. It will be similar, but a little bit more complicated. But the main principle is there. This is the main principle. We reduce it. The point was, you see, this kind of object there is formally of order 1, but by taking, because you see, we can take. So sometimes we can say the question was we have TFG. The question is what should we take here, just to have that the symbol will be 0. And then the only choice is that we have to take the FTG. And the only choice is not true, but we take better the FTG, okay? Then we get 0, and then we get the A is of order 0, and by compactness it is bounded. And then from this total bound we get the statement about the asymptotic. Okay, I think the time is now over for the day, and this will be now tomorrow. I will then consider that with this bus bracket. But it's same structure. If you understood this structure today, you will understand without problem the others. Okay, thank you.
Any questions? No questions.
I see everybody understood this.
Let's proceed with the next lectures on non-linear Schrodinger equation of class. So we cover that.